when you're a kid and they teach you to write a letter? You start by writing your house number, then your street, your town, your postcode, and then you put England, Great Britain, and then you write the world, the universe. And then some smart aleck will point out that you have to put the Milky Way, and you have to figure out where that goes and do one of those little arrows, and by now your envelope's a mess. And then some other kid pipes up, "What about Europe?" And you go, "I'm not putting Europe on my envelope. I've no more space." Maybe that's how all this started. They should have given us bigger envelopes. When I was really little, I just knew I lived here. The small fat one is me. Later, I learnt we lived near a town called Manchester in a country called England, which was part of another country called Great Britain. And much, much later, I learnt that this was part of a thing called the European Union. I didn't know what that was, but I was pretty sure I'd never been there. The Berlin Wall fell when I was 7 years old. I'd like to say I remember it, but actually, I just remember my big sister's German pen friend coming to stay. She wore lycra, fancied my brother, and pierced his ear with an ice cube and a safety pin in the garden shed. When I was 13, I started to learn French and German. I learnt about World War II and the Cold War and how the European project had been started as a way of tying countries together for peace. By the time I was 21, I was studying and working abroad and keen to make the world a better place. I might have got a bit distracted. And then one day, years later, I woke up in Germany where I was living and turned on the radio to hear that Britain had voted to leave the EU. Where did that leave me? I was British and European, and the Brexit vote happened just as I was getting ready to move home. An old cinema had come up for sale in the small town where my parents still lived. My dad, ever an entrepreneur and a dreamer, suggested we buy it and run it together, so I moved back. Moving in with my parents might not have been what I'd imagined myself doing at 35, but I did want to spend some time with them while I still could. I got 2 months. On December 30th, 2017, my dad woke up with a sore arm and drove to hospital to get it checked. He died the next day, right before the fireworks started exploding for New Year's Eve. The church was packed for his funeral. We gave him a beautiful send-off and then went home and listened to the silence. Life now had a before and an after. 1 week later, I met Bruce.